Welcome to the Oh My Gosh, You're Glowing podcast, a space where the root of bio-individual energetics is exposed and glowing from the inside out becomes inevitable. I'm your host, Lindsey Walker, former IT software developer turned multidimensional healer and founder of Soul Fam Wellness. This podcast is for healers, light workers, new earth leaders, and conscious women, aka awakened luminaries, who are lighting your own path forward, allergic to band-aid fixes, and respect the deep inner work. Every week, I bring you raw and honest conversations to activate your unique soul codes, supporting your grounded ascension. This is where multidimensional healing becomes a roadmap back to your soul. Because let's be real, living your entire life on a constant healing journey was never the goal anyways. All right, this officially might just be the most real, raw, and unscripted episode I've ever done in my entire life, because right now at this point, I'm still not entirely sure what this episode is going to be about, but I feel very called to release an episode today. For me, it is my 32nd birthday. When I'm recording this, it's actually the day before, and I have had the release of this podcast on my calendar for the last 2 weeks. And I remember putting it on there and saying, okay, birthday special episode, because it's going to be the first day of the year of the fire horse. It's going to be the day of the eclipse, the solar eclipse. I forget what the new moon is in. I'll have to look it up. I know I'm not an astrologer, so I know enough to get me by, but sometimes I don't know all the details. But I just know that everyone keeps saying this is a big week. And so I'm like, awesome. I am going to release some really fun, really cool birthday special, eclipse special, fire horse special episode for the podcast. Because if you've been listening most recently, then you'll know that I'm keeping to a new structure, a new schedule, which is releasing a new episode every Tuesday. And when I did this, then I looked at the calendar and thought, that's perfect. My birthday is on a Tuesday. Like, we can just put this all together. It's going to be one big magical episode. Well, it is February 16th as I'm recording this. And I have been staring at that get to do on my calendar going, I have no idea what to talk about. I have no idea what to bring forward. And so as today is the last day of the year of the wood snake, there's been a lot of shedding that's been going on. I'm sure you've been feeling it too. And so I actually intuitively just happened to schedule a haircut appointment today. So I went and got my haircut and actually cut more off than usual. And so now I'm, going through this not identity crisis, but all of a sudden I have shorter hair. It's just the front. It's not full bangs, but we're almost banging. And it's just, there's so much new energy and there's so much shedding. And I got home and I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to record this episode. And there were so many things going through my head. And I was sitting there trying to think my way into this episode. And thinking my way here has not gotten me very far, to the point where I was literally a few minutes ago just laying on my office floor. I decided to microdose after I got home from my haircut appointment. And I was like, I'm really wanting to just take this day to step into and embody the day of surrender. So I took a microdosing mushroom of surrender, and which led me to just laying on the floor. And I was reflecting on my past year. I was like, okay, maybe I can do some kind of reflection on my past year of my life, since my birthday is tomorrow and this is when it's coming out. So I went through some photos, and I was still just laying on the floor going, okay, maybe I need to be helpful. Maybe I need to be inspiring to people. Maybe, there's some powerful message that needs to come through. And I was still just laying on the floor going, no, like a thought just going through my head. And I finally sat up and I realized how much pressure I was putting on myself. I was really realizing how much mental pressure I was putting on myself. I was realizing how I was trying to shift myself out of the state that I was in and into a new state, to be inspiring, to be uplifting, to be the thing that I think other people want me to be. And if I know myself well enough, I know that forcing something and also trying to mind my way there is never the answer. So I pulled some cards. Didn't give me much either, but that's okay. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to turn on my camera. I'm going to plug in this microphone. I'm going to press play and see what the hell comes out of my mouth. So here we are in real time. We're just going to let this roll, see how it happens, because what I was noticing in the past few hours and today, and even as I've been revamping this podcast, is that I've been really getting in my head. And really, when I brought in structure, all of a sudden wanting to make it perfect and then letting structure become, am I doing it right? And putting so much pressure on myself. Even when I recorded the episode, I recorded another episode with my husband, Jared, this past Saturday. We recorded it on Valentine's Day. It's not going to come out until the end of March. But I was recording it, or we went to record it, and I went to just start the episode, do the intro and intro us in because I just kind of riff on these even with guests. And I had to start it like 3 separate times. And he was like, chill out, stop trying to, think he's like, you're overthinking. You're overthinking this. And I was getting so frustrated at myself. I was getting so in my head about it. And even the past few times I've started these, wow, and now I can't stop messing with my hair. I'm sorry. If you're watching this video, this is what's happening. I just there's this energy that is overthinking. And okay, here's the other thing. I knew if this energy was in my life and in my world that there was others of you feeling this way too. So that's why I just stopped overthinking, got on this microphone and decided to talk about the energy that I'm moving through, because I know that this is going to find the people who it's meant to find. It's going to resonate with you, and you are not alone, because that's part of this message, is that there's so much overthinking in my life going on right now. And I also feel like it's just in this in between of, we're in this in between of who we were. Like, we just did all this shedding. I know I let so much stuff go in the last year when I started reflecting and I realized how much I've let go. We've let so much go. We've done so much shedding. And now all of a sudden we're in this windows of in between. I actually hear a lot of astrologers talk about the eclipse season being the windows in between. Okay, great. So now we're in this window of in between. We've shed and we're not fully we haven't fully realized who we're becoming. We have an idea, we have a goal, we have this vision, this visual of who we're moving into. Maybe we're even trying to embody that version of ourselves through looks. Like, I saw myself with darker eyebrows, so I went and got my eyebrows colored darker, and then I freaked out. It's all of a sudden current you is trying to become future you, and you're working on pulling all this into your reality. But when you're in the window of in between, sometimes the overthinking can come in to be like, am I doing it right? Is this right? Am I the perfectionist wants to just take over, and it can be so uncomfortable. In fact, because today is the last day of the wood snake, and I don't want to give all my power to Chinese astrology and that particular system. I think it is helpful, and I think that there are aspects of it that are beneficial to utilize, but also realizing, how much power do you want to give to another system? That's just my personal preference, and realizing that I actually like to prioritize intuition over systems, and we can use systems as validation and guidance. But I was also thinking okay, I want to clean today instead of tomorrow, and just prioritizing certain energies of the cleaning and clearing and letting go and the surrendering today versus tomorrow. Obviously, when you guys are listening to this, tomorrow is going to be today. And I started thinking, as I was laying on my floor, trying to figure out what to say in this episode, I was like, maybe I'll go clean. Maybe cleaning will help me get an idea. Maybe cleaning will, and doing something will help me figure out what I'm supposed to say. And then as I sat with that, I realized, yeah, sure, you can clean today. You should probably clean up your Christmas decorations. It's February. But is cleaning right now really going to be the thing that helps you in what you're actually supposed to be doing? And the answer was no. If I really sat with myself, cleaning was just going to be another distraction. It was going to be another thing to avoid the thing that I really need to sit down and do. And when I just have a container, which for me right now, this podcast, just knowing that I'm recording an episode, this is a container for me. And I'm going to do a whole other episode about like containers and flowing inside a container, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but I know that if I have a container and I just show up to the container, whatever comes out and whatever is said and whatever is brought to that space will be brought. So this was an opportunity for me to just acknowledge the container, show up to this space, and let myself share. And so the reason why I'm sharing this in a way that maybe doesn't feel super inspiring, like I'm not sitting here going, let me tell you the most inspiring story that I've ever experienced. No. In fact, I'm telling you how frustrated I was laying on my floor, feeling like I had nothing to share. And I'm sharing the quote unquote nothing. Why am I doing this? Because if you're attracted to this episode, there's something here for you. You're resonating with this. And this is the message to not feel alone. And also, if you are feeling like you are having to transform your way out of whatever you're feeling, maybe you're not feeling frustrated, maybe you're not feeling like there's like lack of messaging or lack of things to say, maybe you don't feel that way, but you're in a particular feeling, you're in a particular emotion, you're in a particular state, and you're wanting to be in another state, and you feel like you have to force yourself into that other state. That's why I'm sharing this right here, right now, because in this windows of in between, we feel like we're not our past self, and we don't really feel like we're our full realized future self yet either. And the frustration of wanting to force ourselves into the future can cause even more frustration instead of just allowing ourselves to be. Like, I'm just allowing myself to be in this space where I don't feel inspiring, where I don't feel like I have some profound thing to share or say. I do actually have a lot of lessons and messages from the Gem Show to share, which I've made so many notes for that episode. But I also want to stick to my own commitments of posting a podcast episode every week. And yeah, that could be, maybe I am putting too much structure on myself and making it too rigid and saying, "Oh, I could have just moved the Gem Show episode to this week." I mean, there's so many things that I should have done, but how many times are we making ourselves wrong for the commitments we made to ourselves? Because then once we get to the commitment, we don't like the commitment anymore. We're like, okay, well, we made that commitment to trust ourselves, but then we got to it and it feels wonky and now we don't like it anymore. Well, why don't we like it anymore? It's not because the commitment was bad. It's not because there's too much structure there. It's because we are still working on fully trusting ourselves in this commitment. So this is me fully trusting myself in this commitment and realizing when I put this on, and this is probably what I manifested to begin with, because when I put birthday episode, like record birthday episode, I put it on my calendar and I literally put in parentheses, I have no idea, not sure what this is yet. So like, I think I was literally manifesting, not sure what this is up until the point of recording. Okay, but I'm not just going to leave you with that. I do want to really emphasize, though, if you are feeling like you're overthinking anything, to just be okay with things not going as perfect as your perfectionist mind would like them to go, and doing them anyways, and letting go of the mind and just moving, like doing something. Like, I have recorded episodes for the past few weeks with guests, with myself. And while there was overthinking at the beginning, I let myself work through that energy, and the overthinking eventually a little bit left. There was still a little bit, but I'm regrowing that muscle over and over again. So there might be a muscle that you are growing or regrowing, and overthinking could stop you if you let it, or you could move through it. And okay, there was some crystals that I pulled. One's for you guys, one's for me, but I feel like that is beneficial to share both just to just to kind of like fill in the energy of where we're at right now. And one other thing before I start, I know sometimes I lose my train of thought. We're going to come back to the crystals, I promise. But part of the reason I wanted to come on and share like what almost feels like right now the most non-episodes of episodes is because with this eclipse energy, we're in a new moon. I'm going to look up what new moon this. Oh, I think isn't it in Aquarius? Shouldn't I know this? I should probably know this. It is. It's definitely in Aquarius. It's fun. Okay, it's a solar eclipse in Aquarius. We're in this new moon. There's so much new beginning energy, but it's also this darkness. It's this darkness of what hasn't been created, of what wants to be created. It is what else kept coming forward is there's so much pressure. Part of the resistance that I felt about getting on this episode or getting on this recording and recording this podcast episode is I put so much pressure on myself for it to be special, for it to be something really grand. And I didn't feel like I had something really grand to share. And I had put so much pressure. So this energy right now can feel like a lot of pressure. And so to also just a reminder to let go of the pressure, to give yourself that break, to be okay with feeling like you don't have everything perfectly tied up and sewed up in a bow. And in this darkness, in this time of like new beginnings, and it's almost like a whole new slate is being laid. And I keep hearing so many people talk about the fire horse. There's so much motivation and there's so much energy, and everyone's just going to run off to the races and go. Well, you can do that. But running off to the races and going without foundation, without strength, you will burn out in whatever you're running to. So be okay with starting a foundation, making it solid, and then growing from there. When I was reflecting on my past year, I recognized that, especially in my business, I was doing a lot of running. There was like a lot of shedding and a lot of running going on. And there wasn't a lot of building. Like I kind of thought it was building foundations, but if I reflect back, I was really just trying to scale and run. And I was trying to scale and run with like nothing to back me up. And that brought me back to building foundations now again, because I didn't do it before. So learn from my experience. If you run off and gallop away without foundations, you will eventually be brought back. So back to the crystals. I pulled a crystal for myself because I was like, if you see me in these episodes, often I'm usually like holding on to a crystal and like playing with it. And it's to keep me grounded. It's to keep me here. It's to keep me present. And there's also just usually an energy that wants to come forward. So the one I pulled for myself was labradorite, which I don't know all the meanings of crystals. But I sometimes like to look them up and see like what really pulls out from the descriptions that I found on the internet. And one of the ones that really, really came through was transformation, protection, and reflecting inner light. One of the things that I'm not going to say too much of this because I'm probably going to talk about in the Gem Show episode, but one of the things that was reflected back to me multiple times at the Gem Show was how much protection that I need. And that was reflected to me from other people, but it has also been something that I experienced a lot this past year. And oftentimes, if I was trying to take on energy by myself or experiences by myself, and I didn't kind of have other people to like share the energy with, then it would be kind of overwhelming for me. And so with this energy of transformation, as you're transforming, if you're listening to this, you've probably shed a lot. And so now you are reflecting out a lot of light. But there's a lot of protection that is needed as you move forward. Protection for yourself to move forward, but also it's going to really benefit everyone you come into contact with. And this is also just a reminder of really allowing your inner light to be shown, to be reflected. So if you've been kind of keeping yourself hidden or keeping yourself in the dark or keeping any part of yourself away from others and like holding in your light, this is really the time. We've done the shedding, we've done and let's be real. Are we ever done clearing and cleansing our fields, our bodies? No. No, we're not. It was probably a big shed, but you're never done. In fact, if you're a healer and a light worker and you're really here to do this work with integrity, then you will continue to clear and cleanse your vessel, your physical body, your physical vessel, your energy field, because the clearer you are, the more connected you are to your intuition, the more connected you are to your higher self, and the clearer and more embodied you will be for you to do your work. But allow yourself to really shine that inner light. And when you feel protected, like I'm literally wearing this pendant. It is a golden obsidian. Oops, there it is. Golden obsidian butterfly pendant. I specifically got it for protection because I know it is full of such powerful energy. And so you'll feel so much more strength and resilience and protection to shine your light when you prioritize the protection first. And the stone that I pulled just for like the energy, I like to send energy into the episodes. I do this in my energy healing sessions as well. But the energy that wanted to come through for this particular episode for all of you is a midnight euphorite sphere. And this feels like very representative of the new moon that's happening today, that's occurring. This new moon in Aquarius. Whenever I look specifically at this midnight sphere, it literally looks like the cosmos, which also just kind of has this very Aquarian feel. It has this like, I don't know, innovation. The whole world is possible. But it's also like the new moon where everything starts out in this black abyss of nothingness. And so, when I was laying on the floor earlier feeling like I had nothing, you actually have everything when you feel like you have nothing because you have a blank slate. You have a clear slate. You have nothing in the way. And sometimes when we feel this frustration, we feel like we don't have all the answers, all the insights, all the messages, all of the, I don't know, all the answers. It's actually sometimes the best place to be because it's just clear. You have nothing. And, when there's so much pressure on a week like this, when there's so much happening in the cosmos, there's so much crazy, wild shit happening in the world right now. Sometimes we just need to be in that abyss for a little bit, like be in that dark. And I don't mean like dark as in bad, but I mean like that new moon energy where you're in the depths of the soil before you fully sprouted, before the flower has fully realized itself. And just be there. Like allow yourself to feel the nothingness, allow yourself to feel the frustration, allow yourself to feel like, holy shit, I've put a lot of pressure on myself and I don't know where to go from here, without trying to force yourself into inspiring and happy and blissful and wonderful and magical. And I know exactly what I'm doing because whenever we force ourselves, like whatever energy is here present in your field right now, maybe it's something entirely different. Maybe you are feeling really inspired, really lit up. You have so much energy behind you. Like if that is the case for you, be in that energy. Don't take on someone else's energy just because I'm sitting here saying like felt like I was in the abyss of nothingness. be in the energy that you're at and don't try to shift yourself out. Just be there, because every time that we're trying to shift ourselves into something else because we think that other place is better, we're actually just leaving behind the energy we came from, and it's still going to circle and circle and circle. And so it's that avoidance energy. Be in the energy, be in the feeling, be in the emotion of like whatever you're in. Okay. So I also pulled some cards in my black abyss of the floor, of laying there like staring at the ceiling, reflecting on my past year. And one of the things actually is I was at my haircut appointment today, and I told my hairdresser that I was at the gem show a couple weeks ago, and I said, like this experience has turned into this portal of lessons and experiences and revelations of like these 5 days. It's been crazy. And she was like, "Yeah, because, you're open to that. Like, you're expecting that. You're open to these magical things happening. You're open to this place being this teacher for you." And she's totally right. I got to thinking about that. And then when I pulled the card, because after I did my microdosing ritual, I pulled a card. I was like, okay, what energy really wants to come through? What message wants to come through for me right now? And it was the energy and the message of subtlety. And this is it basically says the energy here is delicate and fairy-like, and it's really the energy that sometimes goes unnoticed, unseen. And so when I was thinking about this, like as I was laying there trying to figure out what the heck to say, what the heck to bring to this episode, I got to thinking about what she said about, you're open to the subtleties, you're open to these messages, these experiences coming through, where like as if most people would see my experience at the gym show, when I travel, like any experience, they would just see it as like a normal day. But I'm like always picking up the energetic signals of what my body's saying, what the energy is around me, like what certain things mean, what a synchronicity means. Like if I'm seeing like a certain number, or like I saw the like a rainbow iridescence off of almost every single crystal I picked up at the gem show. And then today I had my Yeti cup sitting on I don't know, like in front of her mirror during my appointment today. And I saw that like yellow or the rainbow aura on my plastic Yeti cup. Like it was not a crystal, it was plastic. And there's so many like subtle little energies that I keep noticing. So there's also like when you feel the frustration, or when you feel the nothingness, or when you feel like I have nothing, there's actually so much in the subtleties. There's so much in these like small moments, these small things that a lot of people miss. And you won't miss them if you're connected to yourself, if your vessel's clear. So if you're continuously allowing your drainage pathways to be open, if you're continuously clearing out your energetic field, that is so important to have a clear channel, to have a clear vessel. I was talking to my mom recently, and she was talking about how, I don't know, somehow we were talking about ayahuasca. And she said something about, yeah, like the shamans who do ayahuasca, like I was like, I think they take the medicine every time they lead someone through a ceremony. Now I know it's a different amount. I've never done ayahuasca, so if I'm saying this incorrectly, don't quote me on any of this. But I've just heard the shamans who lead people in ayahuasca take some amount of the medicine themselves when they lead them through it. And I met someone who also takes people on macro mushroom journeys, and she also takes like a gram of mushrooms, even though the person she's guiding or leading is taking, say, like 3 grams of mushrooms. And so she is guiding them in the same energy. Like the shamans are guiding these people in the same energy. Like they're still connected to the ayahuasca when they're guiding and they're leading. And she was saying, like my mom was saying, they must have a really clear, clean vessel to be able to take the medicine and not have some like horrendous detox reaction. Now, granted, again, it is probably a much lesser amount than the people who are actually going through the experience are taking. But she's right. Like if you are able to you know, commune with a certain plant medicine and you don't necessarily have an initial or you don't have the same initial like detox reaction that you did the very first time. Like, okay, so when I take mushrooms, it's not a detox reaction necessarily, but the very first time I remember when I took mushrooms, it was this whole experience and it was a microdose. Now, it's not it's still an experience, but my body has become, like, more one with the mushrooms, even on a micro scale. And so, we were talking about the shamans of we were saying, like, they have to continuously work with the medicine, but the medicine clears their bodies. So, the shamans are actually so embodied in their work and they're also embodied in their clear channel because they've allowed the medicine to clear out their body, which has allowed them to become a embodied clear channel working with the medicine, and that's how they're able to lead and guide other people to be with this medicine. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, that's why it's so important for healers and light workers to clear out their physical vessel, not necessarily with plant medicine per se, but with detoxing, with energetic clearings, with emotional clearings, with, clearing any distortions or, negative dark entities from your field, but also your physical body, like opening your drainage pathways, getting your nervous system really steady and a solid foundation, like on board for your expansion because that is being embodied in your work. Because if you are connecting to source, if you're connecting to your higher self, if you are connecting to any kind of high vibrational light as a healer, as a light worker that is helping to raise the vibration of the collective in whatever way that you are doing it, having a clear vessel is the greatest form of integrity and embodiment in your work. The shamans did it first. They use their plant medicine to really clear out their channel, to clear out their vessel to the point where they don't experience any kind of reaction anymore. Their body is so clear and cleansed because the bigger reaction you have, so I hear, if you all have had different experiences, then you can tell me. But from everyone that I hear doing big doses, big journeys of plant medicine, the denser your body is, the more of a reaction you have, the more of a purge you have, which is why a lot of people who do this plant medicine advise to clear your body, clear your vessel a little bit more before. So it's not clearing the heaviness of like the food you ate and stuff too. I was about to say I don't remember how we got here, but I think it was something about subtle energies or subtle energies. So there is a lot of subtle energy right now, even if the big energy doesn't really feel like it's here. And one other card that I pulled, by the way, I'm in the mushroom spirit deck. So I pulled this specific card for this episode. And this is the King Oyster card. I've never pulled it, but it looks interesting. Anyways, it represents substance. And one of the messages of this card, I'll show it to you if you want to see it. Oh, and the other one, the subtle one, was the fairy ink cap. So fairy energy today too. But this particular one, all about substance, is asking you if there's something you can beef up with an alternative. I know this might sound kind of weird, but one of the questions it really brings is there another way to do something that will create more value in what you're doing? But looking for quality and substance in everything you do and the people you choose to let in your life. So, this is putting quality over quantity. Okay, so we just cleared out so much shit from the year of the wood snake. Now, anything you're going to let back in, make sure it's quality. I mentioned that I've done a lot of clearing and cleansing and releasing this past year. One of the things that actually ties the clearing and subtle energies messages together is back in, I think it was like fall-ish 2025. I was really not feeling connected to my workouts at all. Not the place, not the type of workouts, not the people. Like all of a sudden, it was like a night and day difference where I just felt so disconnected, so just didn't even want to show up. I was not booking my appointments. And I had like an unlimited membership. There was literally an array of different workouts I could have gone to at this particular place all day long. And it was like as if overnight, all of a sudden I had no connection there anymore. I didn't want to go anywhere anymore. And it just didn't feel resonant. And I tried to push through it. I tried to just force myself to be okay with it. I tried to force myself to like it. I was thinking like, why what's wrong with this place? I've been going here for 4 years. It has all different kinds of workouts I can choose from bar to cycle to yoga to weights to Pilates, like mat Pilates. And there was no logical reason as to why all of a sudden I just didn't feel connected anymore. Well, that was a subtle energy that just showed up and it was there and it was so fucking clear. And I tried to push it away, I tried to ignore it. And then I started to really ask myself, like, have I been showing up to this workout place? Have I been showing up here? And I go to look at because I have all my workouts like tracked in my calendar. And I went to look and I realized I hadn't even really been going like maybe once, maybe twice a week, if that. And before I was going like 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Like I loved it. And so I would realized I had been ignoring the fact that I was avoiding the gym. I would find any excuse to just not go. I just wouldn't sign up for things, wouldn't go. And so I realized there wasn't a connection there anymore. And so there was a process I went through over like 3 or so months to disconnect myself from that gym. It was a whole membership experience and everything, disconnecting that. And in the middle of when I was doing that, I was trying to find a new place to go work out. I didn't know what I would do. Before this, I used to work out at a CrossFit gym. Stopped that to go to what everyone kept calling the bougie gym. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go into the bougie gym. Well, the bougie gym became no more. I mean, to me, it was no longer bougie. I didn't want to go anymore. And so I was in that process of releasing and trying to find something new. And in the process, there was a lot of energies that I was having to, reconcile and realize with myself. If, on the outside looking in, it looked like nothing was wrong. To me, my body was saying, get out now. And so that's one of the examples of really listening to the subtle energies, the energies that anyone could just easily overlook. Like I would get stopped from making it to class on time. There would be like some random wreckage or some random street closure for no explainable reason. Anyways, there was all kinds of signs and synchronicities of like why I should have stopped going to that gym a long time ago. So I finally stopped, but in the process, I wanted to have something else lined up when I stopped because I was like, what do I do without a gym membership? Like, I don't know how to operate. I've always had an unlimited gym membership. And I started getting the call to try out reformer Pilates. But there wasn't going to be any kind of unlimited. I could do an unlimited membership, but I wasn't feeling called to do that. So I was just testing things out. I felt like I was going to all these different workout places near me. I felt like a lost gym membership girl. I don't know. I just felt like I didn't have like a gym home. And with this choosing quality over quantity, I started to really enjoy the reformer Pilates classes that I found, but I wasn't feeling called to do them every day. In fact, if I did them every day, I probably wouldn't do them very well because they work you so hard. And that particular movement is so quality over quantity. And so, long story short, I found a couple Pilates places to go to. And when I go, it's maybe once or twice a week, if that. But I actually feel so much better in my body. I'm excited to go. I no longer am avoiding the gym after months and months and months, maybe over a year of basically avoiding the gym. And so, if you've cleared something out, maybe it's a gym membership for you and you're a gym homeless person too and you're looking for a new gym home. Thinking about choosing quality over quantity, because when I shifted into prioritizing more of like the reformer Pilates over just a ton of heated, weighted workouts, it really challenged who I used to be. It challenged the person who went to the gym every single day. That's who I was in CrossFit. I'd never missed a day. And then moving into, this last place where I would go, I started out like 5 or 6 times a week. And then I kind of started to bring it back. And this isn't, workout. This isn't a message of like work out less. No. But it is, I feel like there is a stronger quality of the workouts I do now with the reformer Pilates versus I was just going for quantity before because I felt like I had to go often to get a result. And really, there's so much value in the rest and recovery time between workouts, but that's just one example. So, the fact that this card came forward to really share with you today is after you shed something and you've picked up on the subtle energies, you've picked up on the subtleties that aren't normally seen. When you are bringing something new, bringing a person, bringing a thing, bringing a ritual, bringing an activity into your life, choosing quality over quantity, that will bring you so much more energy in your life. I know because I've felt it and I have so much more excitement and joy and energy to actually do the things that feel like high quality over before when I was just trying to make it to the gym as many times as I could. So, with that, when this episode comes out on February 17th, on our Aquarius new moon eclipse, solar eclipse, and there's all these other energies out there, and everyone is telling you it is the biggest week of the year. It is okay to just live in the moment. In fact, I recommend you live in the moment. And if it feels big and it feels grand, then run with that energy. Run with that energy, all of the energy all the energy and the opportunities that are presenting themselves to you in the moment, run with them. And at the same time, if you're listening to this and you feel like you don't feel as big and grand as you want to be, and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to be big and grand, it is okay to be in the nothingness. It is okay to be in the dark soil with the new moon, beginning to grow whatever is being grown. Because new beginnings and this new energy and this new life that all of us as a collective are stepping into and building, we're also in a year one energy, which I was in a year one energy last year. And there's just so much new trial and error and testing and experiencing and exploring and experimenting that this is your invitation to take the pressure off for it to be exactly perfect the first time. Yes, your life is short, but also you have so many opportunities to experience different aspects of it. So thank you so much for being here to listen. If you were called to this episode, there was very much a reason that there is probably some similar energies that we're experiencing. And this is your permission slip to follow through and do things without knowing how, without knowing why, without knowing the full picture. I had zero clue what I was going to say to you all on here. Zero clue. In fact, I thought I would come on and talk for 5 minutes. But these small, and there was nothing, like I will say there's nothing that felt like it was some profound revelation that I was able to bring you today. And the most profound moments are just found in the present moments, found in the times where I can come on and just share my voice. So for you, just sharing who you are with the people that you love and the people that are around you. There's so much power in just being present with where you're at, with who you're at, with who you're. And with that, I am sending you so much love for this new year, this fire horse energy, continuing on our year one, continuing on with all of the new energy that is in our field right now. I know from another astrology standpoint, Saturn just moved into Aries about 2 days ago. I am someone that just finished my Saturn return in Pisces. So also, if you're someone that just finished their Saturn return in Pisces, I know that you just went through 2.5 to 3 years of a lot of transformation. So it's okay to not feel like you're in a constant transformation bubble every single day of your life. Be okay just living in the present moment, enjoying the subtleties of life. If mushrooms have taught me anything, presence is A, what everyone is searching for, and B, the best gift you could ever give yourself. If you have to lay on your office floor and just stare at the ceiling and wonder, like, what's next, that's okay too. I did it. Highly recommend. So with that, I'm going to leave you all today with just sharing love, blessings, and as of this recording, or as of this episode coming out, I am now 32. So yeah, it's a good time. All right. I have nothing else. So I will be back though next week with the big episode, the Gem Show episode. I have notes. You guys, I have notes. I have so many notes. So much happened. And it just felt really right to kind of have this almost like just, calm clearing episode before the big Gem Show episode that comes out next week. So get ready for that. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. And I'm super excited to share everything that went down during the Gem Show with you all. All right. Sending you so much love. Thanks for being here with me. Thank you so much for listening. I am incredibly grateful for your time and presence that you shared with me today. If you love this episode, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And please share with a friend so we can continue to expand the light codes with our soul fam. If you're looking to transform your life from the inside out with multidimensional healing, see the show notes for more details on ways to work with me. See you next week for another episode of the Oh My Gosh, You're Glowing podcast.